Last stanza, keep gathering them, most Amida, alive, feel yourself spread over me and over us, the shelter in your peace. Move
new here in this space. Is anybody here for the first time? So what I love about coming into this space is that there's always something new. There are new faces, certainly, but we like to switch it up here. So we new melodies, maybe some new parts of the Siddur, of the prayer book that we haven't flipped to in the recent weeks. Maybe you're wearing something new. Maybe you are a new person walking into this room in some way, somehow different than the person you were when you walked into the space a couple weeks ago. The experience of newness is part of the technology of Shabbat. It's not just about letting those shoulders relax a little bit, although that's important. It's not just about taking a deep breath, which I invite you to do if you haven't already. It's also about loosening our grip. Loosening our grip on what is going to happen to us and through us, even if it's just for the next hour and a half or so. Because none of you knows exactly what's going to happen for the next hour and a half or so. I have an outline and I don't know exactly what's going to happen. And so what might you discover about yourself if you just let go of the need to control what is happening around you and to you for just a little bit of time, to lean into the space, to try something new, whether it's to sing a little bit louder, or meet somebody you've never met before, try out the Hebrew, or try out the English for that matter. This is your space for experimentation, for us to experiment together, to create something new that has never existed before in this moment with all of us, this Shabbat. We're going to continue on page 2.
We cascade through the 7 Psalms that lead us through Communal Shabbat, taking us on a symbolic review of the week, one day at a time, one psalm at a time.
Really?
We're at the top of 6. Leave there kiva, ishpotaret, ishpotaret beseder, ve'amim le'shavim, yadach yedizmani, she'elohim zentavim. Hashem Yeharon Pona, Shmuel Koresh, Korim Elanai Ve'Hu Bottom of 6. We're on 7. We're going to stand this more with Daddy. I would like to
a seat. It is so nice to be in here with you. Yeah. You know, in general, we open up the windows as much as is tolerable in the winter, because of COVID, but we had to open the windows because there were so many people in here, and it was kind of funky. Which is a good thing, which we were like, wow, there's so many people in here, it's hot. We need to open the windows. It's great to see everybody tonight. And I hope the cool breeze on your shoulders feels nice. I feel like every so often there's a phrase to help all of it that sort of like enters the mainstream public discourse to help us be more comfortable being who we are. Like, do you remember when you do you became a thing? Like, that wasn't a thing when I was growing up, but at some point in my adulthood, people started saying, you do you. And it was very comforting. And I started saying it. I like, you do you. I'll do me. You do you. And so recently, I heard someone say, go ahead, take up space. Have you heard that one? All right, some yes, some no. Okay, all right, like literally two people sitting next to each other nodding and okay. Go ahead, take up space. And I said, stop, wait a second. What did you say? They said, go ahead, take up space. And this was a little mystifying to me. I said, why would you need to say that? And so Maddie says, Maddie, are you here? Okay, outside. So Maddie says to me, well, Lizzie, some people might need a little encouragement to speak up, like to be more of themselves in a space. They might feel like they have to make themselves small in order to, navigate the world. And so it's an invitation to really like step into themselves. And I was like, oh, yeah, that totally makes sense. And I thought about how, as a kid, my problem was that I invented manspreading. Like, I was thinking about the space that I take up. I was like, oh, wow. Like, if anything, I needed to learn how to take up less space. As a kid, my dad would look from the back seat, and me and my sister would be back there, and he'd be like, Lizzie, you're taking up the whole back seat. Take up a little less space. And so for me, the work of becoming an adult was actually about what we Jews call tzimtzum, taking up less space. That being an important spiritual practice for me. And hearing that phrase reminded me of this idea, this Jewish idea, that a person is supposed to walk around with two pockets, and in each pocket is a piece of paper. And one piece of paper says, for me, the world was created. And on the other paper, it says, I am dust and ashes. And so, if you're the kind of person who maybe walks around the world wondering if you are worthy, if you should say anything, if anybody would want to hear what you have to say or date you or give you a job, you just be quiet. Why am I even here? You need to reach into that pocket to pull out, the world was made for me. What do you think is the sign there? That
was not the right pocket for you, Liz.
Not the right pocket for me. That's right. Okay, thank you. Yeah, that's good. Woo, okay, could you hold on to that scary thing for me? Thank you, Rachel. However, if you're maybe a person who through nature or nurture or, through whatever course of human events has led you to be a person who's actually quite comfortable being heard and being seen, and maybe is heard and seen a little more than you need to be. You reach into that pocket that says, you are made of exactly the same stuff as the dirt. You and everybody else, you are no more special than any other kid in this class, said my second grade teacher to me. Sidebar, he later told me he said the same thing to Malia and Sasha Obama when they were in his second grade class. Because some kids need a little reminder. You are but dust and ashes. Now, those dust and ashes are stardust. They are the things that the universe is comprised of, the elements, but like, you're no better than anybody else, and your elements are the same elements, and you're all going to the same place. And so if you need a little reminder of that, reach into that pocket. And so I feel like this is just a nice Jewish teaching for us, to sort of draw on. You can, interpret which of these pockets might be the one that you need to draw on more. But I'm struck that this teaching about reaching into your pocket to pull out one of those papers kind of relies on the basic notion that we are all in process and in constant need of adjusting and tweaking. That we walk around the world unfinished. We're not done yet, and so every day you can, improve. And so we go to therapy and we journal and we think about how we can be better, and we go to work and we try and fix the world around us and also ourselves 6 days a week. But on Shabbat, you actually leave those 2 pieces of paper at home. You don't need fixing. 1 day a week, you actually practice being completely aligned with and okay with yourself and the world around you. You practice that practice, not actually trying to contract or expand, but actually just like radical acceptance of who's in there, getting to know them and love them for exactly who they are in this moment. It's actually one of the reasons why in traditional Jewish communities they don't play instruments, like, for example, guitar, is because if a string breaks, you might be compelled to fix it. And that actually the fixing is the problem. Because on Shabbat, 1 day a week, everything is perfect, including that guitar with a broken string, including you. So we're going to go into Lecha Dodi. We're going to welcome the Sabbath Queen. I want to just invite you to take a moment to just look at the person next to you on either side and just to say Shabbat Shalom to them. And something along the lines of, you are fabulous and perfect just as you are. You are fabulous and perfect.
Fabulous and perfect just the way you are. Not to go against everything you just said, but
What?
I'd like to check the tuning on that.
I mean, let's see. Maybe. We're not a traditional Jewish community. Let's see what happens. It's not bad. I think we're okay. We're on page 8. Let's see. This might be a kind of new tune. I posted this tune in the Facebook group a little bit earlier today. If you haven't heard it before, that's okay. Maybe many people haven't. We're on page 8. Lecha Dodi, Likrat Kala, Penei Shabbat, Nekavela. Lecha Dodi, Likrat Kala, Penei Shabbat, Nekavela. Here's the verse. Shamor v'zachor v'dibor echad Ishmi'anu el hamiuchad Donai echad u'shemo echad L'shem u'tiferet v'letila Lecha Dodi Likrat Kala Penei Shabbat Nekavela Lecha Dodi Likrat Kala Penei Shabbat
תבושי ולא תקמי, מה תשכחי ומה תמי, בך יחסו אני עמי, ונבנתה עיר אל תילה לך דודי, לקראת כלה ונשמה לקבלה לך דודי, לקראת כלה ונשמה לקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה ונשמה and welcome her in. Boi v'shalom ateret bala gam besimcha uv'tzola toch emuneh am segula boi lecha dodi דודי לקראת כלה ונשמה נקבלה. Good Shabbos, everybody. Whew. We can take a seat. The whole function of Kabbalat Shabbat, this part of the service that we're doing right now, it didn't even used to be part of services. It was sort of added on 500 years ago by a bunch of mystics who were like, Shabbat is this like incredibly mystical concept, but it's very hard to go from the mindset of the week into the mindset of Shabbat, from the mindset of fixing and producing into the mindset of perfection and being, without a transition. And so they created this service for us to move together. And I always feel like there's a moment when you actually know that it worked, you know? And I feel, and, you know, maybe not for everybody, but I hope that you're in a different place than you were when you walked in tonight. So hi, I'm Rabbi Lizzie Heidemann. Nice to see all of you, and especially for people who are here for the first time, welcome. And I feel, yeah, indeed. So we cheered for you on the front end, but now that was to get you motivated, because we want to actually know like who you are, so that we can really properly welcome you. If you are here for the first time, would you stand and we can like really properly welcome you, and you can also tell us like who you are and from whence you came or what brought you here tonight. Welcome. Yeah. Oh my God. My goodness. Love it. And for folks who are online, also good Shabbos, and do what we're doing here in the chat. You're not going to be able to hear a lot of the voices, but please welcome each other, find out where you are, you know, where all of you are from and who's new tonight. Let's start here and just like, just name and you know, either who brought you or how did you find your way to us tonight?
I'm Sarah. I came with my friend Brittany, and I just wanted to try a spiritual.
Love it. Welcome, Sarah. Welcome, Brittany.
Thank you. Yes, I have been introduced. Thank you. My name is Brittany. This is my first time here at Mishkan. I've heard awesome things, and I haven't found a congregation in Chicago yet. I've been here for so long, and I still haven't found a place yet. A lot of people recommended Mishkan, and I'm so glad to be here tonight with everybody. Thanks for welcoming me.
Oh my God, of course. Welcome, Brittany.
Hi, my name is Theo. My friend Brittany brought me. I'm in recovery, so I'm trying to find strength through spirituality. So thank you for having me. I love the music and I love everything.
Love it. Welcome, Leo. You're in good company. You can, and once you've spoken, if you want to sit down, yeah, go ahead. Love it.
Hi everyone, I'm Rachel. I did things virtually before here, but this is my first time in person. So.
I love it. Welcome.
Alex, it's also the first time for Shabbat with the family I didn't know I had yet.
Welcome. Wow. Love it. Welcome. Love it. Love it, Jonathan. Thank you. In the back. Thank you. Thank you. Well, your daughter is a stalwart of our minyan. She is like a pillar. She's a pillar of the community that 20 people in the community see every single day, every morning at 8 a.m. And if that's not you, but you're like, where does that happen? It's 8 a.m. online, and it's our daily minyan, and it's so great. Thank you. I'm so glad you're here. Hey, Jacob. We know you. We're glad that you are here. Thank you for being here. We're always glad to see you. Yeah. Did you say Marie? Murray. Welcome. Come on. Yeah. Did you say San Francisco or Texas? Texas. Yes! You said the world was made for me and I'm going to shul. Love it. Welcome.
Hi everyone, I'm Jenna. I'm here visiting from Boston, and this is my first time here in a number of years, so excited to be here. Hi everyone, I'm Jenna. I'm visiting from Minneapolis.
Love it.
Hi everyone, I'm Jessica. I'm here with my partner Isabella.
Thanks, Joey. In the back. Love it. Love it. Welcome, Andrew. Right. Yeah. Love it. Welcome, Stella. Yay!
Shabbat Shalom. I'm Erwin, and I've been in Chicagoan for actually 3 weeks. I'm exploring everything Jewish Chicago, and I'm here with my friend Terry.
Love it. Love it. Welcome, Terry and Erwin.
Hi, I'm Avery. I am with the Exploring Judaism cohort. I'm in the process of trying to convert. And this is the first time I've had both the time and the strength to make it to Shabbos. So my lovely friend Corey brought me here. They're my accountability buddy for the week.
All right.
Hey, I'm Raphael Rack. I'm also braided to Chicago from Bostonish. Yeah, just checking out Jewish things in the city. Here I am.
We are one. We are one Jewish thing in the city. I'm so glad that you're here.
I'm Abby. I'm also Jewish to Chicago. I've heard such good things and thought I would come check it out. Yay.
Love it.
I'm Miriam, and I'm here because my partner Abby brought me.
Love it. So much love.
Hi, I'm Rena. I work in the neighborhood. I've been hearing really wonderful things for such a long time, and I'm so excited to be here.
We're glad you are. This was, I know it takes a minute to do this, but it's so nice to hear people's voices and to know where people are coming from or that you're new in the city. And I guarantee you, for anybody who said that you're new in the city, like somebody's going to ask you a little bit more about yourself a little bit later when there's time and schmoozing and food and drinks after services. Because one of the best parts of Mishkan actually is the people. People will talk about, the music or whatever, but actually it's the people. So if any of you who are here tonight for the first time want to learn more about our community, Maddie is in the back, Amy is in the back, they are jumping around, they are dancing, and they would both be happy to tell you more about how to get involved in the community if you are interested. And 2 nights ago, it was the beginning of the month of Nisan, Rosh Chodesh Nisan, which means that we are less than 2 weeks away from the holiday of Passover. And if you haven't listened to Rabbi Dina's recent podcast on our Contact Chai podcast, you have to, because you'll learn a whole lot about Passover foods and traditions, but you'll also start getting excited for what you might want to be eating during Passover. And whether your family actually comes from a Moroccan or Iraqi or Sephardic background, you will decide you want to now have family that's from a Jewish, Moroccan, or Sephardi, back so that you can eat the food. But anyway, for Passover, we are not doing a first night Seder, but our Facebook group right now is like a pop-in place for people to sort of connect around, if you're looking for a Seder or trying, looking to hook up with one. We are doing a second night Seder online. And so for those of you who either might be traveling, we have a lot of people who are going to be out of town. We invite you to join us online, and it's always a lot of fun. We are on, between now and Passover, we're on Saturday morning next week, do Friday night, Saturday alternating. So we're on for Shabbat next Saturday morning, and then the following Wednesday is Seder, and we are off the following weekend. So if you look on our calendar for the Shabbat during Passover, we're actually dark. We will be on the following Saturday morning, and then we'll be back on the regular schedule.
Can I do kid-friendly Seder also?
On Tuesday night, I'm teaching online a workshop on how to lead a kid-friendly Seder. So if you're going to have children or children at heart at your Seder, and you want to come learn about making your Seder really engaging and friendly to people of all ages, we'll talk some more about some of those Sephardi traditions. We'll talk about other ways to keep people engaged in whatever version of a Seder you're doing and share some resources. And that's Tuesday night on Zoom, and we will record it. So if you can't make it, there will be a recording.
Love it. And then finally, with other Chicago City synagogues, we're co-sponsoring programming this whole Shabbat to shine a light on the stigma around suicide and offer support to people in the community who are touched by it. And so as part of that effort, like Rabbi Steven will be speaking later tonight, Rabbi Dina also, and tomorrow afternoon at 3 p.m. from 3 to 4:30 at Anshe Shalom, which is on Melrose, right off of Broadway, so just a couple blocks north of here. They're doing like a healing support space facilitated by the scholar in residence, rabbinic chaplain, who's actually in from Boston, Rabbi Suzanne Offit, and also a social worker who's local in Chicago, Marcia Rains from JCFS. And so that's tomorrow at 3 at Anshe Shalom, but also in the morning at Anshe Emet. Is it also Anshe Shalom? Or excuse me, Temple Shalom? No, just Anshe Emet. She'll be speaking there in their sermon. You know, sort of if you do main sanctuary services, she'll be giving a sermon there too. So that's what's going on this weekend. I think we should stand and take ourselves into Mariv. We're on page 13.
Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ad.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ad. You can sit down.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach asher bidbaro ma'ariv v'ravim b'chokhmah p'tei chalik tazmanim masader et hakochavim b'mishmetem ha'ker.
Umavir yom umevi layla, umavdil ben yom uben layla, Adonai tzvaot shemo, El chai v'kayam, tamid yimloch aleinu le'olam va'ed. Baruch Adonai, Hamari Baravim. Page 14. אהבת עולם בית ישראל, עמך אהבת תורה ומצוות חוקים ומשפטים נתנו לימדת. כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו, ובהם נגע יומם ולילה, ואהבתך תסיר ממנו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני, אוהב עמו ישראל.
Eloheinu 16 and 17. Making our way to the bottom of 18.
Malchuto v'ratzon kiblu aleihem Moshe u'Miriam u'vnei Yisrael echanu shira B'simcha rabba v'yamru chulam Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai Mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh Morat tilot Osef Malchutecha rahu vanecha Okayam lifnei Moshe Ze'eli anu v'yamru Adonai mochel la'am ba'ed V'nemar kifad Adonai et Yaakov Ugelo mi'ad chazak mimenu Baruch ata Adonai Gal Yisrael. So, as Rabbi Lizzie said, we are observing a mental health focused Shabbat, and in particular, we're focusing on suicide awareness. In some ways, just breaking the stigma, just saying that word in the community and saying that it touches almost all of us, if not directly, indirectly. And just saying, that's a thing we can talk about here. That's a thing you can talk about here. If that's something that you are thinking about, we love you and we want to hear about it. And if that's something that has touched your life, we love you and we want to hear about it. There's this perception in the Jewish community that people who die by suicide can't be buried in a Jewish cemetery. We don't hold that practice anymore. There's a perception in the Jewish community that it is something we can't talk about. That's not true. We want to hug you, we want to love you, we want to give you space. We want to say that, as we learned this morning in a rabbinic training, it's a treatment-resistant disease. And suffering is suffering. And I want to take a moment now, we're going to have a moment later in the service to remember those who have died by suicide. And I want to also recognize that it is not just the person who themselves is sick who suffers. It is also all of the people who love them, who live in fear, who live in stress, who worry about them, who wish that they could carry that pain with and for their loved one. And we can't. That's not how suffering works. And not being alone in it is so important. So I want to invite you, if you have been touched by this in your family, in your loved ones, in your circle of people who you care about, or people who care about you, I want to invite you to stand, if you feel comfortable. To share, if you'd like to, the names of the people who you are carrying some of their pain with them. If you don't want to share the name out loud, you can just look down and share it to yourself quietly in your space. But to give us as a community a chance to look around and be protected by the love and care in this room. That's what Hashkivenu says, protect us, fix the world with grace and love for us. Because we can't do it alone, we can't do it for ourselves. So to every one of you standing, I'm going to look around the room. I'll give you a chance if you'd like to share the name of someone whose pain you are carrying with you. And I just want you to know that I'm here for you. And I love you no matter what you're going through. And you will always have people here who want to hug you and care about you and be with you. you all be protected and strengthened as you hold on to those you love.
Sending prayers of healing to everyone who needs healing, who needs a prayer. U'shmor tzeiteinu uvoeinu, u'shmor tzeiteinu uvoeinu. We're on middle of 19. U'shmor tzeiteinu uvoeinu, u'shmor tzeiteinu uvoeinu, לחיים ולשלום, מעתה ועד עולם, ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך, לחיים ולשלום, מעתה ועד עולם, ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך, ושמור צאתנו ובואנו, ושמור צאתנו ובואנו, ושמור צאתנו ובואנו, ושמור צאתנו ובואנו, לחיים ולשלום, מעתה ועד עולם, ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך, לחיים ולשלום, מעתה ועד עולם, ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך. May you guard our comings and our goings for life and for peace, now and always. May you spread over us your sukkah of peace. ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך, ברוך אתה אדוני, הבורא סוכת שלום עלינו, על כל עמו ישראל ועל ירושלים. We turn to 20 and we stand. Wash Lema. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. Last time ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
We'll take some time for a personal Amida now. If you'd like to use the words in your book, they begin on page 21. You're also welcome to do anything else that feels right in this time, whether that's eyes closed, hand on the heart, or reciting your favorite poem, or just being with yourself for a few minutes.
Rabbi Lizzie mentioned earlier, I'll be touching on themes of depression and suicide. There's space in the lobby that you're welcome to use. The folks to keep you company until I'm done talking. Rabbi Dina will be out there. Seth, our amazing rabbinic assistant, who's also training to be a social worker, is out there. There's no shame in needing to step out at any time. The book of Leviticus, which we just began reading this week, opens with a description of the various kinds of sacrifices offered by the Israelites. These offerings of meat and of grain and of oil and incense were less gifts for a demanding deity and more a mode of maintaining that connection, that closeness between humankind and God. The visceral nature of sacrifice, the blood and the sweat and the smoke of these rituals was meant to provoke us both spiritually and physically. It was a reminder as we handed over our hard-earned offerings to the priest that we were connected to the source of creation. Each of us, an impossible consequence of elements colliding over billions of years. The Hebrew word for sacrifice, korban, is etymologically linked to the word karov, to draw close, to come near. And standing just a few feet from that altar reminded not only of our origin, but the origin of all things. We were called back into intimate and immediate relationship with life itself. And it is precisely this reason, to reconnect us with the source of life, that the various kinds of sacrifices were prescribed. There was the peace offering for people who had found that in a time of incredible uncertainty, they had persevered with courage and with integrity. There was the guilt offering for people who had alienated themselves from society through theft or lies. There was the sin offering for people who had committed various other transgressions, including leading others to harm. There was the burnt offering given by people who had experienced illness or survived childbirth. Each of these individuals, whether through their own decisions or the decisions of others, had experienced doubt. Can I make it? Do I belong? Am I good? Will I survive? And in that very moment, afraid and vulnerable and broken, are called through sacrifice back into relationship with the very thing that affirms the one precious life that we have been given, whether you call that thing God or something else. It was the responsibility of the individual to bring their sacrifice to the altar. No one else could do it for them. But it also would have been impossible to do this without community. The farmer who harvested the grain, the shepherd who reared the sheep, the woodcutter who gathered the logs, and the attendant who kindled the fire, the artisans who built the altar itself, the Levites who carried it to its appointed place, and the priests who anointed it. This sacred moment of reconnection was facilitated by countless individuals, whether they knew that person or not. So yes, it was the responsibility of the individual to bring their sacrifice, but it was also the responsibility of the community to ensure that this could happen. As each person placed their offering on the altar, they did it in the presence of others, some there to celebrate, and some there to mourn, some to give thanks, and some to make amends, who in their coming provided witness for one another. No one stood in the Mishkan, that sacred gathering place, alone. When we started Maggie's Place 6 years ago, it came from the recognition that the health and well-being of each individual should be the responsibility of the entire community. You can find a lot of what we do at other synagogues: referral lists, support groups, safe social spaces. But what sets us apart, and what I am so proud of, is that Maggie's Place makes explicit, through the allocation of thought and time and resources, that our physical and psychological health is essential to our spiritual well-being. Our physical and psychological health is essential to our spiritual well-being. It is an extension of the stated mission of radical inclusivity that Mishkan, this sacred gathering place that we have built together, is not only for our best selves, but it is also for our fearful selves and our vulnerable selves and our broken selves. This is the blueprint for sacred community outlined in the Torah. The rabbis explained that when the Mishkan was finished, the tablets bearing the 10 Commandments were placed in the ark, the centerpiece of this incredible construction, the dwelling place of God. Yet we're told that not only the whole tablets were contained in the ark, but also the fragments of their predecessors, the tablets thrown to the ground and broken by Moses when he witnessed the Israelites worshiping the golden calf. At the sacred center of the Mishkan, the very place that God's presence was said to reside, the tablets that were a symbol of our highest aspirations and the tablets that reminded us of our faults were contained. Both welcome, both sacred. You are welcome here. Each of you is welcome here whole and broken, even when that brokenness feels irreparable. And sometimes, and for some of us, that brokenness feels irreparable. I want to take a moment to talk about suicide. I want to talk about suicide because it is one of the leading causes of death in this country, regardless of age, or ethnicity, or religion, or socioeconomic status, or gender, or sexual identity. And I also want to talk about suicide because it is more pronounced among the individuals who have been pushed to the margins of society, the very people that our tradition, the Jewish tradition, calls us to protect. People living in isolation, people who are overworked and underpaid, people who have been subjected to the violence of war, people who have been told that because of who they are or whom they love, that they are somehow defective or deviant. I also want to talk about suicide because it is here with us in this room. A silent scar carried by survivors and the loved ones of those who did not survive. Suicide is an answer to the same question that caused our ancestors to doubt their ability and their worth. Can I make it? Do I really belong? Am I good? Will I survive? It is an affirmation of the message that the world is better off without us, whether it's because that is what we're hearing from others, or whether it's because we feel like a burden on those around us. Suicide is a rupture with the value of our own existence. I know this message, that the world is better off without us, because at one point I believed it myself. And while it was up to me to reconnect with my own inherent worth and dignity, it took a community to facilitate that journey. I owe the fact that I am alive in this room with you here today to the Mishkan, that sacred gathering place that was built around me by countless individuals. The mother who loved me, the family who chose me, the friends who celebrated me, the therapists who counseled me, the teachers who inspired me, the mentors who believed in me. While it was my responsibility to bring my korban, my offering of love for this one precious life that I had been given, it could only happen because the community saw it as their responsibility to ensure that this could happen. So here's something I firmly believe, and our tradition believes this as well. If you are alive at this moment, it is because you bring something so desperately needed by the world that the universe conspired you into being. If you are alive at this moment, it is because you and only you
bring something so desperately needed by this world that the universe conspired you into being. Each of you, each and every one of you, is the consequence of billions of years of cosmic dust colliding and ripping itself apart so that your life could occur right here, right now. That's amazing. And if that is the case, it must be because you, and only you, are the only possible result of that incredible celestial dance. As Rabbi Nachman taught, the day you were born was the day that God decided that the world could no longer exist without you in it. So how do we help each other remember and reconnect with the miracle of our being alive? How do we build a mishkan that allows us to bring our whole and our broken selves back into the center of this sacred community? So the book of Leviticus begins with the line, Vayikra el Moshe, Vaydeber Adonai elav me'oho moed lemor. And God called to Moses, speaking to him from the tent that stood at the center of the Mishkan, saying to him. The rabbis are curious about the three different words used for this dialogue, Vayikra, Vaydeber, lemor, that is, God called and God spoke and God said. Why use each of these synonyms? Leviticus is largely concerned with teaching the Israelites how to build a functioning society, with an emphasis on ritual, on law, on ethics, yet the necessary precursor of community is to enter relationship with one another, modeled here by God and by Moses. To call out when in need, to speak words of comfort and care to one another, and to remain in dialogue through the words that we say and the actions that we take. To call out when in need. It is okay to ask for help, even if you don't know what kind of help you're looking for. It is okay to ask for help, even if you don't know what the help looks like. Remember that like the whole and the broken tablets bundled together in the ark, your broken self belongs at the center of this sacred community or any other sacred community just as much as your whole self. To speak words of comfort and care to one another. In a recent training that we did as a staff, I was taught about this idea of observational language, words that say, I see you, without making any assumption about what we're seeing. I saw that you stood up during Kaddish. I noticed that you seem a bit down. I missed you at class the other day. These are all ways of saying, I notice, I see you, I care, and I'm here to listen, if you're ready to speak. And to remain in dialogue through the words that we say and the actions that we take. It is essential that we continue to talk about suicide and mental health. By continuing the conversation as we are able, together we can end the stigma that prevents so many from seeking the help that they need. Give of yourselves, of your time, of your resources to ensure that spaces like Maggie's Place remain an open and essential part of our community. The Torah tells us that the Mishkan was created when each of the Israelites gave what they could. Some brought materials for its construction. Some brought the skills required for its assembly. Some brought the vision for its execution. Some brought very little and some brought a lot, each according to their ability. Yet we are told that every single gift, big or small, was essential for its creation. This Mishkan, this sacred space, can only be created when each of us shows up and recognizes that what we offer is not only enough, it is good enough. You, with that one precious life that you have been given, are good enough. You're good enough. You're good enough.
belong to. Mama Earth, the wind and rain, the beauty and the pain. I'm not alone. For me, the world was created. Not alone. To dust I will return. I'm not alone. 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 Not alone. I'm not alone. Not alone. I forgot for a minute who I belong to. The Mama Earth, the wind and rain, the beauty and the pain. I'm not alone. For me, the world was created. Not alone. To dust I will return. I'm not alone. Not alone. We're gonna stand. Not alone. I'm not alone. I'm not alone. I'm not alone. Not alone. I forgot for a minute who I belong to. Mama Earth, the wind and rain, the beauty and the pain. I'm not alone. For me, the world was created. I'm not alone. To dust I will return. We turn to 32. And we face east. Thank you, Rabbi Steven. עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כאן, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. We're on the middle of 32. שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסר הארץ ומושבים קרוב בשמיים עמה ושינה תוזו ושינה תוזו תגובה to heal the world במלכות שדי בכל בני בשר יקראו בשמך להפנות אליך כל רשעי הארץ יכירו וידעו כל יושבי תבל כי לך תקרא כל ברך תשבע כל לשון לפניך אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
You may be seated. And take a moment to remember those who are no longer with us. And tonight in particular, we remember those who died by suicide. This is also a moment to remember folks on their yard site, the anniversary since their death, or if you're in a period of mourning, whether it's a week or a month or within the year. I invite you to rise as you're able. We'll take a moment to share their names before we say Kaddish Tom.
My mom, Ann Newman.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, wait, hang on. Nate Bronstein and Sammy Berman and Maggie.
Each and every one of their memories be for a blessing. We turn to page 34. Yitgadal, Yitkadash, Shemei, Rabba,
Amen.
Be'alma, Divrach, Yurte, Vemlich, Machute,
V'chayechon uvyomechon uvchaye d'chol Beit Yisrael b'agala uvizman kariv v'imru Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabba mevorach le'olam u'malei almaya.
Yitbarach, Vishtabach, Vitpa'ar, Vitroman, Vitnaseh, Vithadar, Vitale, Vithalal, Shemei, Dekudasha,
Brichu.
La'ela, Min Kol Birchata, V'shirata, Tushbechata, V'nechemata, Da'amiran, Be'alma, V'imru
Amen.
Yehei Shlama Rabba, Min Shemaya, V'chaim Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael, V'imru
Amen.
Oseh Shalom B'imromav,
U'ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel
V'imru
Amen. Amen. Yehi zichronam livracha. May their memories be blessings. Yeah. Yeah. I feel like there's something kind of poetic about making Kiddush on the heels of Kaddish. You know, like actually poetic, because Kiddush and Kaddish are like the same word, but also like l'chaim, to life.
To life.
To life.
That's how we honor them.
Yeah. So we transition from a space of honoring the memories of the people we love into a space of being in the room with the people we're with, and holding their memories and talking about those people, and keeping their memories alive very much with us, as we eat and drink and celebrate Shabbat. So I want to invite you to stand. Earlier we gave a little rundown of what's going on in the community. I also want to mention that Tim leads a regular Torah study on Shabbat on Sundays that's online, and Mark is starting up a group for men who have recently retired or exploring retirement. And so if that's you, talk to Mark, because the group is still in formation. So we are gonna bless and eat and drink. All right, if you want to join us for Kiddush, we are on page 30.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho b'ahava u'ratzon hinchilanu, zikaron l'maaseh b'reishit, ki hu yom techila mikrai kodesh, Zecher letziat Mitzrayim, Kivanu b'charta ve'otanu
Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat.
Amen. L'chaim. Woo! And our custom here is to all sort of reach out, and if that means sort of like reaching toward, or even gently like touching the shoulder of the person in front of you, ask their permission. But we all embody the hands and people that it took to create the nourishment we're gonna enjoy tonight. Whenever you're ready, Steven. And then we'll pass this around, and then make sure to pass the challah board around so it's not lonely. Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lahem min haaretz. Amen. Let's do gesher. Yeah. Pass it around. Maybe like send a chunk this way. Grab a whole chunk. No, yeah. There you go. Okay, that way. Yeah. Good Shabbos. We're gonna keep singing a little bit.
Kol ha'olam kulo gesher tzar me'od. Kol ha'olam gesher tzar. Kol ha'olam kulo.
The words are on that little sheet.
Gesher tzar me'od. Kol ha'olam gesher.
It's so high.
Kol ha'olam kulo gesher tzar me'od. Kol ha'olam gesher tzar. Kol ha'olam kulo.
All the world is a very narrow bridge.
Kol ha'olam gesher. As I walk along this very narrow bridge, I will not be afraid, knowing you are with me. As I walk along this very narrow bridge, I will not fear, knowing you are here.
Could keep doing this all night. I mean, we can. I mean, actually not all night. At some point the
staff needs to go home, but
There
are snacks out in the.
To go
it's
get
true.
snacks.
You're allowed to go get snacks if you want, but we're having fun, so
Yeah.
maybe. Davening team, if you want to go get snacks, you can, but I'm gonna just stand here for a while and sing Shalom Aleichem. Shalom Aleichem, Malachi Yeshari, Malachi Elyon, Melech Malachi. What page is this in the book? Shalom. Shalom Aleichem, Malachi. Last page in the booklet.
36.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachi Yeshari, Malachi Elyonim, Melech Malachi HaMelachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Moachem, Moachem Shalom, Malachi Shalom, Malachi Elyonim, Melech Malachi HaMelachim, HaKadosh Baruch Baruch Hu Shalom, Malachi Shalom, Malachi Elyonim, Melech Malachi HaMelachim, HaKadosh Baruch. Same time, same time, Shalom, Malachi Shalom, Malachi Elyonim, Melech Malachi HaMelachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Ellie, are you going to do a drum solo next? All right. Let's give Ellie's arms a break. Good Shabbos.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbos.